Riverside Radio.
It's 2 minutes past 3 on Monday the 11th December, which you know what time it is. It's on Air Acoustic time, and I'm so happy to welcome in a male singer. I've had so many female singers recently, so I'm so happy to have Paul Silve in the studio. Welcome.
Hey man, how's it going?
I know so there's a story. So Paul's very out of breath at the moment because he literally got in the studio about a minute ago. So we've opened the door, got him in, put him on the seat, and that's it.
we didn't even have time to say, hey, how are you? It was literally
exactly.
Like, your headphones, you had headphones? Okay.
I'm meeting you about the same time everyone else is. Well, actually, no, I'm not meeting you for the first time because I'm actually already... Well, you're the first person I scouted from a gig.
Really?
And if it wasn't me, it was going to be my mum. So I was with my mum and my uncle.
She was great.
So your biggest fan. Your cameraman, your camerawoman, your biggest fan. I'll tell you, so if it wasn't me getting on your show, I promise you my mum would have got you on the show. Everyone was a big fan of yours. And we met at the Troubadour. What an iconic venue. I've never been before. I've never heard of it before, and I'm angry that I've never heard of it before. Such a cool venue. I mean, I'm going to just name some names. Bob Dylan, Jimi Hendrix, Joni Mitchell, Elton John, Elvis Costello, Morrissey, Led Zeppelin, Adele, Ed Sheeran and Paolo Nutini have played at that venue.
Paul Simon as well.
And Paul Simon.
Yeah.
Like, the names will go on and on.
Incredible.
How does that feel for you?
It was just like such an honor. Like, I've always been about following the steps of my biggest idols, and I love the classic. I love classic music, and not classical, but just the classics, right?
Yeah,
and it was just like, man, it was just so inspiring to be in the same stage where Bob Dylan played, and Paul Simon and Ed Sheeran and all these people that I've been listening to for so long. It just was such an honor. I know that I could never follow the steps of anyone because I'm trying to create my own, but I still acknowledge how much of an honor that was, and it was a small venue, right? But quite intimate, quite like I felt like it matched the music quite well, and I'm on like just the audience, you know, you guys were all amazing. Like, it was all amazing, really. I was just so honored and so happy.
It did seem like the perfect venue for your music.
Yeah.
Like, it did seem like you both went hand in hand, like it just sort of just perfectly happened. One thing I do need to ask you though, and so there was a lamp on stage. Yeah. Did you bring that?
Yeah.
Or was you brought that?
Yeah.
See, now we're talking about individuality there. That is genius. It is, because I've been to a fair few gigs. I mean, of course, you see the ones at the O2, Wembley Arena. Obviously, it's all the big lights, and you know, you kind of just get what you're given kind of thing. It's like, right, you walk on. But to do that for you at grassroots level, to kind of do those little details, I think that's genius. Because it really, I mean, you had the audience in like your palm of your hand. It was genius, man. What was the sort of thinking behind that?
Well, first, for this question, I want to shout out my girlfriend Noah Goda and my really good friend Harley Maridona. She had like we were just like. So my girlfriend's a production designer.
Oh, okay.
And we were talking about how to make the gigs more interesting. And, you know, recently we've come across a lot of gigs where, like, we were just the only band who played acoustically, or, like, soft songs, like love songs and everything, you know. And we're just like, we need to find a way to actually impose the vibe, you know, impose the feeling, impose the mood that everybody is like, okay, and I know what's going to happen now. You know, and the lamps, I don't know if you felt it, but like when, I think it was Noah who had that idea with the lamps, and she was like, every time I listen to you singing in your room, you just feel relaxed and comfortable, and yeah, like I just think it would be nice to bring the room to the stage, and you know, so for future headlines, we're trying to bring out like actually like the whole decorations of my room, but on stage, and make it an actual thing, you know. And just for this gig, because it was a small gig, we weren't headlining or anything, we just thought like, you know what, let's bring the lamps, like let's make it kind of cozy, let's make it feel like everybody's in my room as well with me, and it's just relaxed, you know, it's just you know. And I think it's genius. So massive shout out to your girlfriend there, because it really did feel like when you're set, it like it was welcome to your world. No. Like, it was all of a sudden, for that time, your set time, we were in your world, and it was you had something to say, and we were listening. Thank you, man.
Genius.
It means a lot, you know. It means a lot, because that's when an artist aims for a sort of concept, we aim for the audience to kind of understand it, or at least some people, and yeah, it's exactly that. It's just about putting the vibe, because in gigs nowadays everybody's so like, we want to jump, we want to dance, we want to da, and I'm like, I don't know how to make people dance. I don't know how to do this. Like, I just want to share what I've been through, and that's what
But that's the best thing. When it comes from your heart, people listen. Yep. So I wouldn't worry about the dance people. I'm worried about you. Like, I love this style of music. I love your music. When I listen, I had to get you on. So we've spoken about. So I know what you sound like. I know at one of your gigs. So how would you describe your music to someone who sort of has never heard your music before?
I guess it's like as if you were watching the biography of an artist, of a hopeless romantic, and it was his life soundtrack. I've had this question a lot of times, and every time I overthink it, and I'm like, well, a mix of this and a mix of that. Like, yes, I could tell you, like, okay, my biggest inspirations are like the Beatles, Ed Sheeran, Bon Iver, Ben Howard, all bees. but yeah, like that. I just truly feel like what I write is what I want to express, is like moments that I've lived, and the music corresponds to what mood I was in when I wrote it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
no, I love that. I mean, especially when you're talking about people like Ed Sheeran. I mean, in my opinion, he's king of acoustic, isn't he? Like, he's gone there and he's taken it. I mean, you can still sell out a record stadium and still do an acoustic set. I don't know how he can do it, but that's Ed Sheeran for you. Yeah. He does have a lot of vulnerability about him. And when you listen to his albums, even stuff like Supermarket Flowers and Visiting Hours and all that kind of stuff, there is a real vulnerability there. How easy is it for you to write something on a page, but then get on to stage and then have all these eyes looking at you, all these ears listening to you? And how do you sort of, do you know what I mean? Like, how easy is it? Like, is it nervy? Is it exciting? Is it,
So let's say, like, I started performing on stage about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Right? So before COVID, everything was like, I don't know why or how, but I remember feeling super relaxed. Like, every time I went on stage, I was super excited. I was just like, not even excited physically, but just like mentally, and just like they're like super relaxed, and like, I'm just gonna sing my songs and I'm gonna do my best, and that's what I'm gonna do. And after COVID, I didn't have much gigs, and I kind of stopped gigging for a while because I wanted to start focusing on writing more and producing a little bit, because it was hard to find a producer and all these things, and now that I'm back into gigging again and everything, and that Troubadour gig, it just felt amazing. It just felt like I was at home, and it felt like I was where I belong. And I've been meaning to do this my whole life, like perform and make people feel like you, right? Like, you literally came up to me after the gig saying like, wow, I felt this song so much. And I was like, I appreciate so much every feeling, every interpretation of every song that I've ever sang to anybody. Like, really, it's just, it's something we were talking about it with someone today, is the human connection that we can make with music is extraordinary.
Yeah, there's nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
Yeah, I mean, well, that connection we had, like, when I was just watching that song, I was like, oh my God. If I was a singer-songwriter, I would love to have written that song. Seriously, it's up there. It's amazing. I'm a little bit annoyed it's not on Spotify. So get it on Spotify, because that'll be straight up liked, I'll tell you now.
It's a funny one, it's just about finding the right team, like, we've had music for a long time stuck in our cupboards, and we've had a lot of recordings done and everything, but it's just about finding the right management and the right people who want to work with us for the future of our music, right? Because I'm just so attached to my projects, and it feels weird to kind of let go, to start from zero again and again and again. I've started from zero too many times.
Like we all have.
But it is my plan to record it properly, to make an actual record. It's just, I write the songs. I like to perform them after I write them, like, for a long time, and have them in my set for a long time. And then once I've had them perfection it, like, I just go to the studio with my producer and just record and make an actual record that you'd be able to listen to every day, like the same way that we could listen to the live version every single day, right? Like,
that's actually quite interesting you say it, because obviously I've been doing this for a while, so I get a lot of people that talk about their songwriting experiences where everyone's sort of, when you talk to comedians, they will go on a lot of tours, so they'll do a lot of, tiny little gigs to work out their best set for the big ones like the O2. The musicians kind of just the other way around, where they will write a song and then they'll just go and perform it. Where you're doing it like the comedy style, like you're performing to the end of perfection, and then you'll release it. That's not like many other artists. That's pretty cool.
What were these dudes? Do you remember the Everly Brothers?
I've heard of them.
The ones who sing Dream.
Oh, yes.
Dream, dream,
yep.
dream. Right, so a friend of mine recently, we were talking about them, and we were like, how is it that their records are like so perfect? Like so perfect. And back in the days, you didn't have autotune, you didn't have compressors, you didn't have anything to make your music sound better, right? So we were talking about them, and he was telling me like, I think what happened is they used to perform all of their songs like 1,000 times live, and then once they got it so perfect, they went into studio and then they recorded it, right? And it was like, it took like a little bit less longer and everything. And I think it's a really old school way of doing, from what I've heard, but but I love it, because I think it keeps your, like, not even about your audience, it just keeps me moving, and it keeps me thinking that I'm actually moving forward, and the music is like, I don't know, I love my music, and I'm like, I just want to share it with the people. I wish I could share it, and I wish I could put it on Spotify and SoundCloud and everything, but the thing is, if I do that, it's a one-time thing. It's not going to be released ever again. That's why I'm so perfectionist with that, and with live music, I just love to change things and make it different to the record and make everything a bit different than what it's used to be.
I think it's quite exciting, like the creative process, and I love listening to other people's, because I was saying to someone literally last night about radio presenting, and it's, how did you get into it and all that kind of stuff. I was like, well, you kind of just have to go for it, but it is failing in front of people. Like you do have to, like, if you don't, you've got to have the confidence to fail in front of people, because people are going to be listening to your first ever show and going, all right, who's this guy? But then they'll listen to me now, and then I was at the Radio Awards on Friday night, and then people were coming up to me who have not actually met at the radio station, and they were giving me so many compliments. I was like, oh wow, like from there, it's just incredible. Like I'm like, oh, like I was really overwhelmed. Like I was like, oh, and it's just incredible. Like,
but I feel like that's what, like, come on, we're all learning about life, and also because life is evolving so much, so fast. Like we're all still learning, and it's only by trying that we're actually gonna learn. You know?
Absolutely.
And also even more in creative arts and creative jobs and jobs where you can actually add a little bit of your little spice, in there. I feel like it's super important to try and let your gut say what you should say, and let your gut do what you should do. Like,
I think exactly what you said, and I think that is a perfect thing, because talking of your individuality, talking of everything, I think we should have the first song, or your first, like the song. I think this is a perfect time to have it.
Okay.
When you're ready.
Let's do it. So yeah, should I say something, or should I
just play? Absolutely, mate. Yeah, this is your interview.
So I guess this song that I'm gonna play is it was Chris's favorite. It was Dear First Lover.
Yep.
It's a song about, I wrote it when I first arrived in London, and back when I was living in Barcelona, when I was 5 to 10 years old, I had a little girlfriend, and she arrived in London at the same point as me, at the same time, and I really wanted to reach out to her and tell her, I don't know, just how are you? Have you been? Like, it's been 10 years I haven't seen you, or maybe a bit less, but yeah, like so long. And I don't know why I didn't have the courage to ask her like to go grab a coffee, or I was going through a lot at that time. So I decided to write this song called Dear First Lover, and it's a special to catch up, So
turn up the volume on this one, I tell ya. When you're ready.
First lover, how have you been? I've been looking for another, don't know where to begin. Dear first lover, I hope you're okay. Yes, I hope I won't bother, feel like I went astray. You used to show me your little drawings and admire me playing volleyball. I know everything has changed for the best, and I shouldn't smoke to try to fill a hole. Oh, I know. Dear first lover, how long has it been since we haven't talked to each other like we're still the same? That era might be over, and I'll miss it for days. Too late to put our children cover and be childish again. I remember all the doodles in your letters and how I wasn't a good joy at all. Now mine used to be as light as a feather, and I wish I knew why this doesn't feel so wrong. Dear first lover, there's not a reason to this. Yes, I hope you're happy where you are. Oh, I'd love to catch up. Yes, I'd love to catch up. Oh, I'd love to catch up someday.
Just gonna applaud it again. It's just...
Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate that, man.
Like, it's. I was trying to find the words in my head there to just kind of describe to people what it was like to be there that night at the Troubadour. But I can't. Like, it was just such an experience. I think it was a feeling that you can't describe to people. I think they need to get you one of your gigs.
Thank you.
So, I mean, you moved from Barcelona to London. Mm-hmm. Why the move?
Actually, it was from Barcelona to Switzerland.
Oh, okay, nice.
And then lived there for 8 years, and then after 8 years in Switzerland, I just realized that music wasn't. It's growing now a lot, but there could be a lot more opportunities for artists in Switzerland, and they could expand their market. But you know, I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know how it works. You know, like you know, me in my head, I was just so tired of living in a country where at the moment they didn't appreciate my music or any music like that much, any Swiss artist that much. And I'm not Swiss, I'm just saying. but yeah, I decided to move first to Manchester because I wanted to be as close as possible to the Beatles. Okay. But my cousin Danny was living in Manchester back at the time, and my parents, they were like, "You're going to somewhere that we know that there's someone that we know." Okay. you're going somewhere where we know, like where we know that there's someone, like, you know. So I went. I lived with my cousin Danny for a bit of time, and spent 3 years in Manchester, incredible years where I wrote a lot of tracks, performed with a band, like musicians alongside of me, and they were some of the best musicians I've ever met in my life, at least some of the most soulful people, just down to make the greatest music and the best feeling possible for our audience, you know. And they respected that, and they respected me, and I just loved it. And after a while, you know, 3 years, 3 years in London, it was COVID hit, right? 3 years in Manchester, COVID hit, and it was just like, I was in the middle of COVID just writing songs, and I was like, what do I do now? It's like, maybe I should just move on, and next step, right? And the next logical step after Manchester in my head was just London. like it could have been Liverpool. I applied to go to Paul McCartney's university.
Oh wow. Wow.
I got accepted even
nice.
and everything, but I was like, I don't want to. I'm just such a bad student. I was like, no, I don't want to be. I don't want to go back to class. So yeah, no, I just thought like London might be the best, like the next logical step for me to be in, and here I'm at 3 years later, doing gigs, just trying to finish the projects I've been working on for a while, so you guys can listen to a couple more songs, a few more songs, but it's so much nowadays. Music has become so much of an industry that like releasing something is not as easy, at least if you want a good outcome out of it, a good result. It is not as easy as it used to be, but then that may be my fears and my insecurities talking, like in the end I would love for you guys to listen to some of my new music, like how much
Definitely.
I would love that. How much I would love that.
I'm telling you now, don't even think about being insecure, like release it. And the scariest thing is to jump. But just take the jump. Because you made the jump from Manchester to London, look how that went. You made the Switzerland to Manchester jump, look how that went. So just it's there.
It's there, right? Like
you have an audience. Man. I've seen them.
yeah. Literally. Now like I think it's. I think I'm just like so eccentric when it comes to having the right amount of art in a project, because sometimes you can balance it between the promotion and the marketing and then blah, 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 and everything. But I don't know, there's a part of me that wants to make things so meaningful, and I see people releasing like a track every month, and like there's so much music nowadays. It's so overwhelming. Like, how do you discover your music?
It's all on Instagram.
Everything on Instagram.
But then one artist will put something on Instagram, and then someone will message me, be like, "Oh, I've just seen you interview so and so. I want to go." So it's kind of like a snowball effect. But if like no one comes to me, I can't. Yeah, Instagram. But then next year I'm going to be going to more gigs.
I wish you that, man. Like,
I want to go to more gigs.
I really thought Instagram was like not a way to discover music.
Instagram is.
Well, okay.
You start putting in like London music, or you start following places like the Bedford or something, and they'll have so many artists on. They've got music every night. I mean, even if you walked around London, everywhere in London, you would find some sort of open mic night. But that's how I'm finding them at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think that's the crazy thing, right? Because back in Manchester, I used to do literally an open mic every week, and now in London, like every open mic that I've found is like. It's not an open mic, it's a jam. There's the professional musicians behind you, and they're like, "What song do you want to play?" Okay. And I'm like, I don't want to play with you guys. Like, I thought this was an open mic, like, and I get a bit overwhelmed when they tell me, "But you can play on your own." I'm like, no. Like, at least not if there's a band behind me that will look. I don't know.
I'm on that because I've got a similar thing to my show here.
Yeah.
You can't come on if you want to do covers or you're a tribute act. Yeah. And I know some people don't like that, but I want to know who you are. I don't want to know who Paul Silve is singing a Beatles song. Anyone can sing a Beatles song. I mean, not anyone, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people that can do it. No one can sing the songs that you sing because that's the song that you wanted to sing. Everyone's got a story. Well, how am I going to find out your story if you're hiding behind an act that's already been?
Exactly, and covers should be occasional and meaningful. Like, there has to be a reason behind it, right? Like at the gig, like I sang a cover of Bob Dylan, "Blowing in the Wind."
Oh, that was awesome.
Dude, I never pick a cover in my set. Never. But because I've been so sad and so nervous about what's going on with the news and what I've because I try not to listen to the news. I try to ask my friends who have researched about it, and they can tell me the actual story. Because the history can tell you the actual enough for you to actually have an opinion on this, but not by just watching some random article and just one article tells you I've made my No,
there's a lot out there.
There's so much more, right? And when I knew all of this, I was just like, I need to do something, whatever it is, but I need to do something. And I was looking for if I could sing in the protests or if I could do anything to help, but there's so little that you can do to help. And I guess that's what I thought of doing, is do a cover of Bob Dylan, your favorite song that represents peace and love and anger against leaders and leadership and nonsense. You know, like,
but it's a good point that you had there, because like you said then, with the whole Bob Dylan thing, because he actually played at the Troubadour, that is a good link. I'll give you that. That's a good link.
I was happy about that as well, yeah.
Is he one of your biggest sort of inspirations, Bob Dylan?
I would say more like the Beatles.
Yeah.
I would say more the Beatles. I love Bob Dylan to the point, like, I've researched a little bit. I try, so my thing is, the less you know, the better.
Yep.
So I don't try to know too much.
Less is more, yeah.
Just in case, if I ever meet them, I actually have questions to ask them, you know? Like, how boring would it be that you meet your idol and then you're like, oh, I know this.
I know more about you than you.
Exactly. It's like, what? So boring. That's so boring. Even talking with someone about something that you've never heard of, it's so much better to ask them questions about it, right?
Big time.
But yeah, the Beatles, man. The Beatles were my auntie Money was just she showed me the Beatles with my dad, like when we were like 3 years old or something, and since then it's just been such a wild ride, like, and I'm still discovering tracks of the Beatles now, and
they're still bringing them out.
We saw, right?
No, right? It's crazy.
What do you think about it?
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
We thought with my producer, we thought it was a bit weirdly mixed, but the song wise, it was wild.
It's incredible how they still mixed it though.
It's
still incredible. Like, it blows my mind. But talking of new songs, there is actually it's actually been out for a while. Your song, I want to talk about. It's never been easy to forgive.
It's never been
easy to forget. We've got just a few more minutes. It's out. What have you got to say about it?
Well,
this is the one song that's on Spotify.
It's the one song. I don't know, like,
it's a great track.
You know, that song. I was in a time where we were so perfectionist with the records, with the actual records that I've been working on, that I've been telling you and everything, that I was just like, you know what, I'm tired of writing. I'm gonna learn how to produce, and I'm gonna try, you know. And I got to a point where I had this, like, It's Never Been Easy, that was quite finished, and I was like, wow, I kind of love this song. And it has a vibe, and it has a groove, and the whole mood that I wanted to this song, right? Like really Angus and Julia Stoney, darkish, lots of reverb, lots of a choir kind of all singing together, and a lot of Paul's just like kind of like singing along together. And yeah, like I was you know, that song was the most natural song I've ever written. I wrote the lyrics as I was recording. I was literally like, I give myself 2 slaps, drank a bit of water, you know, and press record, and I was just like, hey, you, where has the time gone? I need to feel in my bones. And I was just like, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Like, it's a long story, but I've had a couple complications with one of my best friends, one of my ex-best friends, and it was just, I just needed to deliver a message to him, because of 11 years of friendship, I've never written a song for him.
But you're not the first, you're not the last.
You know? Yeah, exactly.
I've had a few people come on in there, and that's on Spotify. Yes,
that one's on
people
Spotify. Can
go and listen to it.
Yeah.
What's your Instagrams? Because people need to follow you. What's your Instagram?
And you know, my Instagram is Paul Logan Silve, like Logan Paul, but the other way around, and Silve like silver but without the R. And yeah, Paul Silve, pretty much everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, Paul Logan Silve, Paul Silve. You can find me everywhere with that. And Dear First Lover is available on YouTube, as Chris said. And yeah, just share some love. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, mate.
Chris.
Honestly, that's the quickest half an hour ever. I think I could have spoken to you for another hour. I know that, but unfortunately, that is time. So, but mate, thank you so much for coming in, and I wish you all the very best of your career. Not like you need me to say that, but yeah, I wish you all the very best.
Such an honor, Chris. Thank you.